First, we will start with the dollar, which did end off the week pretty bearish. We did break through lows, had a bit of a pullback and a retest as well. The analysis is pretty straightforward for the dollar. We are bearish until we turn bullish, basically. So I'm expecting lower lows and lower highs until I see something like this breaking through highs here. If I do see a move like this happen this week, that tells me, okay, potentially we are forming a bit of a low, a bottom at this area, and we could be looking at a break of structure, a higher low, and some more upside, because the dollar is still quite stretched. We've been falling since the start of the year, pretty much Jan 13th. We've been in a very nice bearish trend. So I do think upsides on the cards eventually with USD, but right now the bears are in control. We're still very consistent with all of these lower highs. So as long as that remains true, then dollar of course can keep falling. Just before the week ended, we had a nice retest of support here, turn resistance, pretty strong rejection. Looks like price is on its way to go test the lows again. So USD still looking bearish. We'll keep monitoring that. At this rate, we'll probably see another push into the lows, and we'll go from there, see how the trend does continue. I'm not so much interested in shorting the dollar, mainly because risk reward's not looking too good. Yeah, I'm already at lows. So I think from an intraday standpoint, you might find some nice intraday trades. Take dollar back into the lows, maybe EURUSD back into the highs. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I'm not really interested in trying to short the dollar until we get another bigger pullback. But at the moment, still a successful retest. What would be nice is if the dollar was to charge back into resistance again, and then maybe have a sell later in the week. That could be a really nice trade to take it back into the lows. But as I said, as long as price doesn't take out this swing high, at 99.4, I do remain pretty bearish. So taking a look at EURUSD, which again is doing pretty much the exact opposite. Had a nice retest of this wick here just about, that was not yesterday, last week actually, on Friday. And again, a very strong close again this morning. So EURUSD in a similar situation. We've taken up major highs. Trend is still looking pretty bullish. We've been trending since, again, around 13th, 14th of Jan this year. And we've been pretty solid since then. But again, because we have been quite corrective, the market's been trending for a while. I do think Euro can look to potentially have a bigger pullback / reversal at some point. And that's kind of what I'm waiting to see if it does kind of happen this week. But of course, at the moment, bullish structure, very, very present here. So again, similar to the dollar, looking to continue that bullish structure until we see signs of it not continuing. So again, in terms of an opportunity, unless you're already long on EURUSD, you probably do want price to pull back and retest that zone again. And then we can talk about a push back into the highs and maybe some higher highs as well. So yeah, EURUSD still pretty bullish, trend still up, still consistent with the higher lows. We've taken out some major highs to our left there. So again, I'm not so optimistic about buying the market, especially as a swing position. It's a little bit too high up for me, but day trading, I think you might be able to find some nice buys, especially if you do pull back to retest that same zone around 1.15. So keep an eye on that for EURUSD. Pound USD will kind of flat, but if you can break highs, I think it can look a lot interesting. So you can kind of see we're squeezing with these higher lows and this level of resistance, similar to what pound yen's doing actually. We've got equal highs there, but we are still kind of staying consistent with these higher lows. So pound USD is just waiting for that green light either to break the resistance or break the trend line. If we're going to reverse, I'm looking for something like that. If we're going to continue, I'm looking at something like that. And I'm just going to stay pretty neutral for pound because I can see price moving in any direction really. If USD is going to stay weak, then I would expect us to break high, and then we can talk about some retests and some buying opportunities from then onwards. Again, pound USD similar to euro, very clear uptrend. We've taken up major highs. So far, we're doing pretty well to stay above them. Prior resistance there is doing a pretty good job at staying above that and using it as support. So everything does look pretty bullish for pound. Just in terms of a good buying opportunity, you want to see price break the high well, and then we can discuss some pullbacks and some retests. As for targets, I mean, I've looked on the higher time frames. There is some structure back here, 1.363, 1.37. I think those are some areas we could probably target, and we've already hit the first one. So I'll be looking at the next high, 1.37, next big psychological level as well. That might be a nice target to have. But again, you're kind of trading fresh highs. We haven't been here since 2022, I think. So you probably want to trail stops and just see how far we can take it. But 1.37, I think, will be a smart place to lock in some gains. Dollar CAD, still pretty bearish, but again, not really interested in shorting the pair. We've been falling to the downside for quite a while. We're now coming back into some major areas of demand where we did see a very big move to the upside not too long ago. We're back there at these prices again. I do think we can bounce, but of course it will depend heavily on what USD is going to do. If DXY stays bearish and keeps falling, well, it's going to be very difficult for dollar CAD to see some upside there. But we are in an area of interest where I'm looking to buy. Again, we've been falling for quite a while. I'm not really interested in continuing to short the pair. Now that we're in this area, I'm looking for signs of reversal, double bottoms, higher lows to take to the upside. Again, nothing too crazy. If I can ride it back to some of these highs here, that would be great. I'm not necessarily looking for a reversal here for dollar CAD, although a reversal could happen. I'm just trying to see if I can take advantage of a counter trend move, and we'll see how it goes from there onwards. But yeah, dollar CAD coming back into the zone, not interested in shorting at all, and just going to keep an eye on the longing opportunities. But yeah, still bearish, so hold your horses with the buys as of yet. Aussie dollar, still very corrective, still kind of just chugging away to the upside. Very, very dry price action. Not a lot to do with this one. I've talked about waiting for price to push to the upper end of the channel, where I think there could be some nice shorting opportunities. The market's been pretty consistent, and if we do spike into the high again, as long as we see some healthy rejection, I think that's a great place to be shorting and expecting to see a lower move into the channel. You can see we've got the kind of the middle dotted line here, which represents the middle of the channel. This is kind of the area of the most kind of fluctuation in this indecision. So I don't really want to be finding entries here, especially when it looks like price is now consolidating within the channel, which is just absolutely horrendous. So if we could push higher, take out some highs here, come back into some fresh territory, if we could see some healthy rejection there, well, I think that's a great place to short and anticipate a swing back into the low and maybe even further as well. But that's really the opportunity I'm interested in. Aussie dollar is on the watch list for myself, so definitely going to keep an eye on that opportunity as the week continues. New Zealand dollar, kind of a similar situation to Aussie dollar, both very, very corrective. So I do think a bigger pullback is going to happen. I'm not so interested in shorting this one, just because there's a pretty big level of support and resistance running through the market, and that could become a little bit like an obstacle for the sellers, because I could imagine we could use that support to continue higher. And now I know NZUSD and Aussie dollar, they're going to do the same thing. If Aussie dollar is going to melt out the sky, then New Zealand dollar most likely will do that as well. But technically, I do favor Aussie dollar over NZUSD. But it's the same situation. We've been pushing up for a while now. Market is still very corrective, very tired. So I do think the bigger pullback will be a push down for NZUSD. There might again be some nice sells at the top of the channel. So if we were to do something like that, again, I think we'll probably get a nice sell. But watch out for this area. It could add to support to send us back higher again, and we might continue within that channel. But very corrective behavior. Looking forward for the sells. Yeah, I do think we can see a push down at some point, but I think it's still too early to say. In terms of gold, so gold looking pretty bullish. We had a strong move to the upside just before the week ended. So Thursday, Friday, looking pretty good. And yeah, looking to see if we can get pushed back into the highs at 3,500. Overall, the market is still very bullish. Again, just a quick scan of the higher time frame, see what the market is doing. It's a very, very bullish market we have right there. So I wouldn't really be looking for sells until I see some obvious signs that things are shifting. And yeah, naturally targets back at 3,500, back at the all-time high. So As I mentioned on the weekly analysis, if you haven't checked it out, go and do so. But we've got a clean area of resistance here, which of course has now broken and could be acting as an area of support. So we'll see what price does here. I think maybe on like an hourly chart, this could present some nice buying opportunities. Maybe a nice double bottom can arise, a strong shift of momentum as entry signal, at least a swing back to the high 34.50, but I would be looking at 3500, just trying to continue the overall trend there for gold. But yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on this level, 3400 we'll call it. A lot of momentum, higher time frames agree with the idea, so I quite like what I'm seeing with gold. And silver is also very, very bullish as well. It doesn't look like silver's going to give me the pullback I'm after, however. Again, the breakout was very, very clean. Took out these highs like it wasn't even there. And I do still have expectations of a push to 40 for silver. So I am very, very bullish on the market. And I like it because gold and silver are starting to look like they're on the same page in terms of their direction, which is a good confidence to have. But yeah, silver a bit flat right now, not a lot to do with the market. If we don't get the break and retest of this area, this would be my preferred level to try and get a opportunity from. But let's say if the market just kind of consolidates and does nothing for a while, if we were to see a sharp break to the upside through this area, well, then that area will become my interest for a buy. Yeah, we probably won't get that break and retest down there. But if we see another healthy breakout similar to this happen over here as well, then yeah, I would be looking at a retest of that zone. And again, similar targets back at 40, but I'll just be trading stops. I won't have a hard target in for silver because I think this can really, really fly if the conditions are right. So yeah, silver, very bullish on this one as well. Just waiting for a good opportunity, whether it's the kind of a build-up of consolidation and a break and retest, or we do come lower and retest that daily zone. We have to wait and see. But in terms of direction, very happy with this one, only looking really to buy the market. And yeah, that's kind of where I am at with silver, gold, USD pairs as a whole. USD is still very weak right now. Again, I'm not so interested in selling the dollar because we've already had such a big move. I'm kind of looking to go against it if I see the opportunity for it. But yeah, dollar's still weak. Gold, silver still very strong. I think there might be some nice buys for those in particular.